bring you this now. The South African government is urging its citizens in India to get vaccinated as soon as possible. Well, the country's COVID-19 casualties have been reaching record-breaking figures for the past week. Over 19 million cases have been recorded and more than 215,000 deaths have been confirmed. South Africa's ambassador to India, Mr. Sbu Ndebele, joins me now to unpack this for us even further. Mr. Ndebele, thank you so much for your time and a very warm good morning to you, sir. Perhaps let's start with the communication that you have been having with South Africans in India. How has that communication been like? Are they in distress? Is they calm? Are they worried? What's been that communication like?
Good morning, Tumelo. We've got a very mobile community of South Africans here in India. These are, to a large extent, students, so that you can appeal to them intellectually to reason out what the situation is. And their response has been very, very good, that we need to protect ourselves, use the facilities that are available here in India, access to the vaccination, and so that has started last week, but it's going to be quite a lot of massive vaccination of our South Africans this week. I hope we'll actually finish all of them, who are just over 3,000.
Right. And speaking of that vaccination process, Mr. Ndebele, I read reports that you've been urging South Africans in India, particularly this large group of students, to get vaccinated to ensure that they are part of the vaccination rollout program. What are your interventions, particularly as South African government, to ensure that these South Africans do indeed get vaccinated?
Well, it's actually reasoning it out with them that this is the correct thing to do. Not for anybody else, but for yourself. People see the deaths and the suffering around coming out of this COVID-19. So that the question is, how do you save yourself? You can keep to yourself, you can wash your hands, you can wear your mask, but over and above that, you need to vaccinate. So that message is coming through, and we are going to see quite hundreds and hundreds of them being vaccinated this week. And we think by the end of the week we'll be through with South Africans. And that puts them at a better protection than anything else.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen also some reports coming in from, South Africans who have displayed hesitancy when it comes to vaccination. There's been a lot of, information, a lot of disinformation, if I have to say, regarding, vaccines, but also fear alluded after, that J&J vaccine was halted due to some blood clots recorded in the United States. Have you seen the same pattern and the same sort of fear in India coming from South Africa, that hesitancy to vaccinate?
Well, there was the hesitancy, but then you ask your question. You can stay as you are, and what happens? It's being affected by this COVID-19. You stay as you are, or you can vaccinate. So if you stay as you are, you know what is going to happen. But if you vaccinate, you give yourself a better chance, you give your body a better chance to fight this virus. So the reason is prevailing, and the students are vaccinating.
Right. And just for clarity's sake, before I move on to my next question, Mr. Ndebele, in terms of numbers, how many South Africans in India have vaccinated so far, and how many are still yet to vaccinate? Do you perhaps have a rough estimate of what the numbers may look like?
Well, I've got a fair idea of the estimate by the end of this week. It's Monday today.
Right.
That we should be done with the just over 3,000 of the students that are here.
All right. And with that being said, it then brings the question around travel restrictions, because we know that South Africa has been banned from traveling to other parts of the world. I'm sure even India receiving that banned list. Any clarification on travel restrictions of, from India, flights from India coming to South Africa?
Well, first of all, the vaccination, we're talking about the South Africans that are in Mumbai will vaccinate in Mumbai. Those that are in other centers will vaccinate where they are.
Right.
So it doesn't involve too much of traveling there, but access vaccination wherever you are. But the
yes.
restrictions is international. The world is just restricting travel, particularly from India to India. South Africa has not yet been affected by it, but it might be the way to go.
Right. So are you saying, sir, that there are still, flights coming from India to South Africa? South Africa has still opened its borders for any travelers coming from India?
Yes, though we don't have direct flights yet, we hope we'll have direct flights by the end of the year. We fly through Qatar.
Right.
We fly mostly through Qatar, UAE, but mostly Qatar, and then directly to South Africa, or Tambo and King Shaka International.